architecture. It's architecture. To make sure that
Oh, hello. Welcome to today's episode of It's Architecture, which is all about BedZ, a sustainable housing development in the south of London. First, let me introduce myself. I'm Rob. I'm Andreas.
And I'm Chloe. So Rob, maybe you can start out by telling us a bit about BedZ. What is it?
Well, guys, Badington Zero Energy Development, or BedZ, completed in 2002, was the first large-scale, mixed-use sustainable community in Hackbridge, and even in the UK. Bill Dunster Architects, Z Factory, worked together with Bioregional, an entrepreneurial charity that works towards creating sustainable solutions, to develop BedZ by approaching the Peabody Trust. Of the 100 homes, 50% were for sale or marked rent, 25% for shared ownership, 25% for rentable social housing, and 33% were built as live work units. There are also offices and special needs schools.
Background, but how exactly did the people behind BedZ try and achieve their aims of one planet living?
That's a good question, Chloe. I think we should let Andreas explain the sustainable design and technologies behind the estate. Andreas?
Well, Rob, as it happens, there's quite a lot to tell. The aim was to build an estate to promote the ideas behind one planet living, where each person lives within the resources available on one planet Earth. This follows these 10 points. The carbon savings began with construction. It was constructed using a lot of recycled materials. 20% were recycled from as nearby as possible. This includes steel from the old Brighton station, reclaimed timber, and bricks, and the use of lime mortar. Other energy-efficient methods include photovoltaic cells for electricity, a car club to discourage car ownership, and a green roof to improve thermal performance. BedZ's sustainable drainage system reduces on-site flooding and boosts biodiversity.
Oh.
BedZ themselves are designed to save energy as much as possible by using simple passive heating techniques such as solar gain, high levels of insulation, and high air tightness. Every flat also has space to grow food outdoors, which cuts down on their carbon footprint and food bills. Each home also recycles and composts. Also, when it reaches the end of its life, the clever construction techniques used will allow for the building to be dismantled and the materials to be recycled.
BedZ was very pioneering for its time, but it's still far from perfect. Now we're going live on the Archie phone to a BedZ resident, so hopefully we can get some insider information. Brian, can you hear me?
Hello, I'm Brian.
Now you've been living in BedZ since it was completed, haven't you? Are all the systems working that were there when you first moved in?
Well, the living machine on the estate was designed to treat sewage to turn it into grey water. Unfortunately, it did not prove viable. However, a lot was learned from its failing, and now a 3-year experiment with the UK's first biomembrane reactor is taking place on the site.
Wow, that is exciting.
PV cells don't work that well, and we still get most of our electricity from the national grid. I'm not sure if anyone actually owns an electric car. Probably the biggest disappointment has been the combined heat and power plant, which is rather ugly and didn't work as desired. The original BedZ biomass CHP used wood collected locally through tree pruning, but the wood was too dirty and clogged the bastard.
Okay, well what can you tell me about your experience of living there?
Well, my flat can get really hot in summer if I don't manage my sun space correctly. It's warm enough in winter though, and my bills are nothing compared to when I lived elsewhere. It's got a good sense of community. We learn house management tips by talking to each other, and there's a good mix of people. In fact, the average BedZ person knows 20 neighbours compared to the UK average of 3 or 4. On the plus side, the mother-in-law can't visit, there's no lift.
What about one planet living?
Some people who live there are very good at embracing the one planet lifestyle, others not so. For example, I have a massive telly that can quickly outweigh the benefits of energy-efficient white goods.
That was a very interesting point. Thanks a lot, Brian.
Yeah, that's okay.
Well, that was really insightful, wouldn't you say? Sounds like the original systems aren't working perfectly, but they seem to be using the problems to develop new solutions.
That's right, Zoe. Both companies' offices are actually on the BedZ side, so they can monitor the effectiveness of the systems. This information will continue to help architects, designers, politicians learn how to further utilise sustainable technologies. BedZ is now 10 years old, and so are the technologies, but we can still learn from them to improve on how we live and to get a sustainable lifestyle. The average BedZ resident has an ecological footprint of 4.67 global hectares, or 4.32 where the CHP is working. A keen resident can reduce their ecological footprint to 3 global hectares. If everyone on Earth lived like this, we'd still need 1.7 planets to support us.
So, Rob, what other projects is Z Factory and Bioregional working on?
Well, Andreas, There's some really thrilling stuff happening, as Chloe is about to tell us.
Well, Bioregional have been very busy. They have started Rebuild, a project that gathers excess building materials from the local area to be resold to local people to use in their homes. Bioregional is also working with local businesses to develop One Planet principles, and hopefully soon Sutton Council will be a One Planet council, with all council buildings meeting the One Planet living standards. There are already One Planet communities in Australia and some planned in South Africa, but Bioregional's ideal is to have BedZ ideas on 5 continents. Bioregional is also taking its message to the 2012 Olympics and the world by having a One Planet Living exhibition and experience in the Athletes Village in 2012. Another of Bioregional's projects is BERZ, a residential scheme in East London that uses similar techniques to meet half of the occupants' annual electricity demand. But energy efficiency needn't be limited to new builds. No. On the contrary, even Grade 2 listed buildings can be Z'd, like Chalkwell Hall was. Wow, we've learned such a lot about BedZ today, and hopefully those of you watching have found it as fascinating as we have.
I certainly did. I for one am very pleased we have such a project here in the UK, as normally we have a reputation for being a bit crap at building things.
Yeah, I think it's about time we started putting our fingers out and started to improve the carbon footprint of this country.
So please join us next time on It's Architecture, where I will be explaining to the boys how Frank Gehry's concert hall in Los Angeles has been melting things.
What a silly man. Goodbye!
When you look at a building reaching up to the sky, there's a lot more to building it than meets the eye. It's architecture.